How's the Blazers working to build a community to allow for discussions while providing specifications you can relate to so you can have an educated decision on your purchases? This is the Rake. Doesn't make sense how it's spelled, R-U-I-K-E, but that is the way that they're saying that it's pronounced Rake. Before we get into that one, we're going to go over some of the little news things. So the blind knife review, that has started now. So I completed mine. It's on hold. It's gone over to the blue collar survival. So that's going to be the next one in that line. And so we'll make it through everybody, and then we're going to have the drop for all the videos for that blind knife review for the video. Also, an announcement for Tuya. They're also going to be having a micarta scale for the talisman. So if you have a talisman, you can get a micarta scale, or if you don't have a talisman yet, and then you can buy one with a micarta scale. So which is that's pretty awesome. So this one is one that I picked up after I got the P671, which was that front flipper, which was a fairly, I feel, fairly poor design. So if that was a first experience with a front flipper, which it was for me, that could have just turned anyone away from buying a front flipper ever again, because it wasn't very good. I mean, granted, the one I had was defective, but it just wasn't very good overall. So this one is the LD11-B. So this one is one that is not going to be legal in a lot of places that cannot have a locking knife. So I did order it in to hopefully disengage that. So it does have a little bit of a liner lock for it. So it's not necessarily the same type of liner lock because it doesn't actually make contact with the blade. So it's just there for kind of that added safety or added confidence that it doesn't close on you. So it does have that, it does lock it in there. So I wanted to get it in and be able to disengage that, but with the pivot is actually fully floating, so I can't open it. It's just stuck. So that's something that's not available to actually open this, to actually maybe swap the scale over to the other side, so it doesn't have that liner. Because I was almost thinking about moving one scale to this side and that scale to this side, that way you wouldn't have this liner lock. But I can't open it, so unable to do that. So for anybody that cannot have a locking one, I'm sorry, this one is not going to be for you. But I did like it because this one does have the thumb stud. So it is a single thumb stud, which you can switch it over to the other side. But the pocket clip does not move, so it is a right-hand carry only for this one. So looking at some comparisons for the blade, so that's going to be the Rake. We have the Rat 2, and the Statgear Ossus. So this one was actually on specials. I don't know if it still is on Amazon for special, but this was $30 with Prime shipping, so that anybody in the States, you can pick that up. Still, I believe, check it out if it is. But price-wise, these are going to be about the same for it. And then we do have one of the Civivi line. It's the Backlash. A full-size Griptilian. And the other one from Rake as well. And this one's kind of the more popular one. So if you don't have this knife, I would recommend getting this one before you get any other Rake knife. The P801, they have the satin one as well as this black wash. So this is kind of where I compared a lot of the knife quality to, is back to this one. I guess is a very good value for this. And then also for the finish on the actual grind is almost like a near mirror finish. That's why I actually asked Baz on Blaze if he wouldn't put an edge on it, because it is very well polished. And that's one thing that actually is a little bit lost on the newer rakes that I experienced. They don't seem to have that same detail as far as getting that edge, kind of that mirror finish. So it seemed to be a lost thing for this one, as well as that P671. It didn't really have that mirror edge as well. So for that, we're going to look at also the hand sizing. So for this one, we'll look at the adult male hand first, which is going to be a cross, and then kind of that regular way that you would hold it when you're actually using it. And then also going to look at adult female hand, and go across, and then as well as at that angle. So for this one, it has a 12C27. So that one is going to be somewhat similar to a 440C as far as performance. So it's fairly popular along different brands as well. So we're going to look at some of the corrosion resistance for that, the hardness, wear resistance, as well as the edge retention, which is going to be kind of how long it's going to have that kind of workable edge for it. So a decent blade for that. This one only has the thumb stud opening, so you're not going to have any other options to open this one, so it's not going to be able to have any type of flipping action because it is basically that slip joint set up for it. For this one, you can also see in the knife roll, you're going to have a very good carry because it is a deep carry clip, so it actually does carry very well for the pocket. So if you do want to have that be pretty inconspicuous, that is a good way to go for that. This one had a weight of a 3.17 as far as the specification. Mine came out to 3.4, so it was a little heavier by a little bit there, but it's not horrible. And then also for the grind on it, so as I was talking about earlier, as far as that final finish, it does not have as refined of an edge as the previous 801, but you can see that as far as what that grind looks like here. And also for the photo, as far as the blade size and also the handle size, so we'll look at those as well. So blade we'll have as far as the two measurements. Then we'll also have the handle length. And then for the sharpness test for this one was, I didn't actually do any major cutting for it. So factory edge for this one came out to about 211 on the sharpness scale. So 211 is going to be basically that new high-end cutlery. So it's a good edge that starts with, especially for something that's kind of a budget knife for this one. So this one, as far as the current pricing, goes for $29.95. MSRP is about $38.95 if you go direct as far as one of the regular resellers. So that one's going to be Gear for Life is the one that I picked this one up from. And then as far as a buy, borrow, or avoid, I would really probably have this closer to the buy and borrow, so it's kind of in the mix of that. So if you're looking for a slip joint and you can actually have this one because of that liner, I would probably pick it up, but really I would prefer to just have the thumb stud and no liner lock, but this is the only way that it comes for this. And then one that I'm really interested in, if you haven't seen yet, there's the one that's from the Manly brand. That one is, they have one coming out which is going to be black with a red liner. So that one actually looks very good. That one does not have a thumb stud, but it seems like they're heat treating, they have cryogenic treating for it. And just watching their video on their website, it kind of sold me on that brand. And it seems like a lot of other people are kind of looking at them. And then we do have some other reviews coming out already for that brand, but I'm looking out for that as well. Some things for these, as far as some of the questions that normally come up as far as some of the information on the blade. It does have a serial number on the back, so you're going to notice that right on this back edge. So that's a serial number. So for your warranty, that's what that's there for. This glass break, I don't know, I mean, it would probably work for that, but then that's something that's available for this knife. And then one thing that was actually pretty interesting in regards to this one is something that you don't really find. Every now and then I find that I need one of these, but I don't have one. So that's something that's pretty cool about this, is that it actually has something in the back of the handle here. So you actually get a pair of tweezers for this. So fairly useful for that. So kind of if you did have this as far as your EDC, then you would actually have some of the baseline things that you need to have. So that tweezer, the glass break, deep carry. So overall, it's a really good setup for the knife. But let me know as far as the comments down below, as far as what you guys think about slip joints in general, if this is something that really works for you. Again, there's going to be a lot of folks that say that, well, I can't have a locking knife. which is kind of the downside again of this one, but they do have the one with the actual nail nick. So check that one out. Let me know in the comments down below as far as what you think, and thank you again for your time.